relentless, chasing gold. This game's ours, it's ours to hold. One shot left, one play to run. Make it count under the setting sun. It's game time grind. All or nothing on the line. Push through the pain. Leave it all in the rain. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to a brand new episode here on the 4th and 10U Network, Game Time Grind. I'm your host, Ali the Persian. We got Steve here. What is up, Steve? How you doing?
Yo, what's up? Doing
Not
good. How
much,
about
man. Not much. Mystic late as usual. I don't know what's going on, what they do in Iowa, but here in Florida, we have a certain schedule to keep. So I don't know what's going on with him. That's all good. He'll probably show up here any moment. But if you're new to the show, make sure you check out some of our other content. Subscribe if you're new. Turn on the notification bell. We're going to be putting out more and more content out, so I cannot wait. We have a great show set up for tonight. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you do that for us. Today, we're going to be talking about Day 2 of the Combine. That's right, Day 2 of the Combine. Ahead of time, we're going to talk about some of the players we're excited to see and see how they perform. What you hear today is by far not an expert analysis. We're not experts, we're fans. But what I will say is that these are players we're excited for and want to see what they're going to bring to the table. So we're kind of analyzing what they potentially could do at the Combine. Just to let you guys know. But it's been an interesting week for me. A lot's going on. Some personal stuff I can't really talk about. But I will have to share at a different time. But yeah, it's going. This week has been going by fast. Tomorrow's already Friday, man. I can't believe it.
It's definitely weird.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of stuff is going on. A lot of weird news is coming out too. Did you hear what happened in Iowa at a frat house?
Yeah, all the what are they called? The wannabe entries got some
The
about
pledges.
the
The
cops showed up.
pledges.
Yeah, the
Yes.
pledges. The cops for some reason were called and they found them all shirtless with blindfolded in the basement.
Some weird ass shit, let me tell you. Let me actually go to the post. I'll see if I can share it. Just bear with me a second. But this is some weird images. Like, one second here. Let me share my screen. Share the
I'm just
screen.
saying, you notice something happens in Iowa mystically again. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
Fucking.
All right. So, yeah, let me see if I can make this big. Just bear with me a second. Pause for a moment. Yeah, there
How
we go.
about we start cleaning this up? Everyone take their blindfolds off.
First of all, they're in a freaking basement, dark basement, no lights on, and they're all standing around blindfolded, right? Or half naked. This is some weird ass shit. I went through the whole frat pledge thing and everything. And to be honest, I never did any weird shit like this. Let's keep watching.
I want to know what they're covered in because
I've already given
you know what? I don't want to know.
commands to clear the room and get out of here, but no one's moving.
So just to give everybody at home what's going on is these guys, I guess, are pledges. They're pledging and they're getting hazed. You know, it's haze week. And the police showed up for some reason. I want to know. I never really got the understanding of how the police got there, but they got there, right? So then what happens is they come down to the basement and they're telling everybody to take their blindfolds off, and everybody needs to tell them what the hell's going on or get out or whatever. And nobody's complying with the police at all. This guy that's behind the cop that's walking down the steps, they eventually try to get information from him. And he's like, you need to call my house dad. People don't know it's someone that's supposed to be in charge of the house, essentially, or keeps out, looks after them. And they're like, well, what's his number? Well, I don't have it. Like, you're part of a fraternity and you don't have, your house dad's phone number. It's just kind of weird. And any information they try to get from him or any of the pledges, they won't give up. Is this fraternity that damn good that they wouldn't give up information to the police of all people? What do you think, Steve? It's kind of weird, right?
I mean, first off, I want to know what they're doing illegally that the cops needed to be called.
That was my question. Why are how'd the cops even get there and why? Like,
it just looks
smelling
like
and screaming?
kids. It just looks like a bunch of random ass kids standing in a room. Like, that's weird, but like, I don't know why the police are there.
I have no idea. It's really weird. Let's watch a little bit more.
Apparently they're taking this pretty serious.
Yeah, I guess.
You in charge?
You said
Still haven't found out who's in charge?
no one asked my house dad.
Where's he at?
Summit. Working on Summit.
Summit. That's cool.
So
So
you have
obviously,
someone coming here?
yeah, the lieutenant's coming.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Definitely figure out why you wouldn't let me pass you initially.
Questionable.
Yeah.
I get it.
I would probably be calling your house dad or whoever to get him here, since ultimately
Wish I could.
he's probably in charge, right? Unless someone else is in charge.
I don't have his numbers.
Yeah.
Which probably should get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys know how the fire alarm got set off? Or is it just from? It's manual.
Here's the deal. From what I'm being
Okay, so he said something about a fire alarm. I guess the fire alarm was pulled or something. And just so you know why we're even really talking about this, because this whole thing is weird. It has nothing really to do with college football. If you look at the guy's shirt, it's an Iowa fraternity at University of Iowa. So where's Mystic? Mystic had some thoughts about this and some more information, but obviously he's late as usual. So that's why we're even talking about it. So some crazy stuff. But from my understanding, what Mystic would have told you that he told me is that they at University of Iowa State, or Iowa State University, I'm sorry, they have banned hazing. So this whole Hell Week, if you want to call it that, as part of the fraternity process, they don't allow it at certain schools, or they've banned it. I don't know. I guess they turned on a fire alarm, and that's what alerted the police. That's basically. But it's just the whole thing is weird.
This is like shutting down chapter type stuff. I need to start talking now.
It's 1 o'clock.
Yeah, that's fine. I need to talk to people.
You call Summit.
Can I call Summit?
Yep.
I'm not calling Summit.
I have no contact with Summit. You're not being very helpful.
No, they're
Nobody
not.
in here has any way to contact the guy that's in charge of this house.
First of all, this kid has some balls. Look where he's standing, right? He's standing in front of the door where all of the pledges are that have have decided we're going to remain silent no matter what happens here, right? And you're basically in between them and the police. If I'm the cop, I'm going to start arresting this kid for what do they call that? Obstruction of justice. I think something like that's going to happen, right? And first of all,
he
if you
really
really
can't until the cop tries to walk in. If you were to stop the cop from walking in, then he could. But right now he can't.
yeah, but also on top of it, they keep saying I don't have his number, no way to contact him. And so, first of all, if you're in a fraternity, you're provided the appropriate information of who to contact, especially in emergency situations like this, right? So I think the thing is all crazy. I would really like to find out what this hazing actually was, because having a bunch of dudes, some with no shirts on and they're blindfolded in a basement, is just damn ass weird. That's what I'm gonna say. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. I wanted to just share that. Supposedly, from what I've read, this fraternity got like a 4-year ban or suspension out of this. So for not, I guess it was really worth it. Going ahead and not speaking up to get a 4-year ban. That's ridiculous. Oh, I just think the whole thing is funny. But yeah, man. So what else is up, Steve? What else have you seen? Any other news out there that's kind of hilarious or funny?
Not really. I mean,
Not really.
It's starting to get that quiet part of the season, so it's just combine stuff.
Yeah, I know the combine's there. That's definitely true.
Well, other than the Bears about to become the Indiana Bears, but that's a different thing entirely.
So let's talk about this real quick. This kind of how do I say this? This kind of slipped me. I didn't know this was an article, but it came out today. I guess the Raiders may have, and let me just verify this real quick. I just want to make sure this is legit. Just bear with me 1 second.
Well, while you look that up, there are 5 teams with the most participants coming into the combine.
Okay.
Texas A&M, Alabama. Actually, there's more than 5, but Texas A&M at 13, Alabama with 12, LSU and Ohio State are tied with 11. Georgia, Miami, and Oklahoma are tied with 10, and then Clemson, Florida, Indiana, Iowa, and Penn State are all tied with 9.
So I guess this article is kind of misleading because it talks about the Raiders have already decided between Fernando Mendoza and the Ravens' Lamar Jackson. Was that even on the table? Was Lamar Jackson even on the table?
That's been the rumor because I believe his contract is either coming up next year or is up, something like that, and they have to make a decision.
Lamar Jackson as a Raider would be interesting. I just don't know if they're ready for a Lamar Jackson quarterback, though. I think if you're a Raiders fan, you wouldn't want it, and the reason for it is we've seen all these, like, I call them like outside the box thinking moves, if you want to call it that, with the several quarterbacks that they've tried. I would say this would, having Lamar Jackson would be probably one of the most prolific athletic quarterbacks that they've had in a while. But at the same time, do the Raiders really have the offensive weapons that a Lamar Jackson would need? They're still in that rebuild mode, right? If I'm them, based on where they're at now and having to hire a new head coach, let the coach and GM decide. If it's me, I would go with Fernando. That's what I would do. I would start with a rookie QB, build your team up. I don't think they're ready to just put in a Lamar Jackson, let alone Lamar Jackson's probably at this point, he wants to play for a team that's actually going to win. You know what I mean? I think he's one of those players. I don't think they're ready for him. That's just where I'm at. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Would you think it's a good idea for the Raiders, or do you think Mendoza is really the one where to go?
I mean, here's the thing. You can't I can't say a proven quarterback, a two-time MVP, would be the wrong decision for any franchise, right? Not in his prime. Because I also don't like. I know a lot of people think that Lamar Jackson's injuries are a major concern right now, and that he's starting to take a step back. I don't think so. I think he's always had injury issues. That just comes with Lamar because of his play style. But he's still the same player he was when he won his 2 MVPs to me. I don't see that much difference. He was slower this year as a runner because he had a calf injury. But
Mhm.
other than that, he looked like himself. I think it depends on what it would cost them to get him because they would have to trade for him. And then on top of that, they have a running back. They have one of the best tight end rooms in football. They have a decent offensive line. They're only get they like if the cost is 2 first-round draft picks, there's a conversation that needs to be had, but you can get receivers in the second round. Like your defense was pretty decent in free agency. You have money to go spend on the pieces to fill the voids you have. Like if they wanted to, they could. I I don't like because it feels very dolphinish, and I can only say that because it's what we did. We saw the big ticket, we went and got the big ticket, and then we threw everything
Mm.
in for that big ticket, and that's what it would be for the Raiders. They saw the big ticket, they went and paid for the big ticket, and then will work for them? I don't know. Is it the right decision for them? Probably not with
Mhm.
a first-time head coach. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's very interesting. I think the Raiders really need to draft a QB, though. We've been saying this for the past several years that they've made mistakes by not drafting a QB. I think it's time that they do so, especially with the overall, number one draft pick. You ultimately have, in my opinion, the sure thing in your hands. Why would you mess that up? I get it. It's Lamar Jackson, but even Lamar Jackson needed, big time running back or weapons. He has Mark Andrews. They have other receivers on the board. Who do the Raiders have? Do we even know what offensive weapons they have?
Yeah, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer.
So
The running back, they have probably one of the better tight end duos in football. To be
I
honest.
guess I guess maybe it's because they don't perform very well that I don't really see who they really have. I guess that's just on me. I guess I don't really follow them, so but it's just, does Lamar even want to go to Vegas is the other question.
Now that's the question. I don't know, man. Again, I don't know why the Raiders would even move off of him other than maybe the head coach wanting a different guy. But
Mhm.
the reality is like if you believe what's being said, they fired Harbaugh because of Lamar. Like, why would you
No,
fire Harbaugh if you're just going to get rid of Lamar?
that's see, that's a really great question. Why would you do that? For me, unless you just decided, you know what, Lamar's not it, Harbaugh's not it, clear house, we'll start over. Maybe that's what they're going for, but I don't know why you would do that, to be honest. They still had weapons, they still had things that they could do. They just they need a different philosophy or scheme fit there, to be honest, in Baltimore. So I don't know. But let's keep it moving. It's interesting what's going to happen at the combine. You mentioned a lot of teams having participants. I think you said Texas A&M is leading everybody, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. I think for me, what's also surprising is that we kind of talked about this recently. Players playing in college well beyond their college years. And what I'm talking about is you're seeing a lot of players play for a sixth, seventh, in some cases, 8 or 9 seasons, right? And in college. And it just surprises me. I want to bring that up because being the fact that Texas A&M has like 11 players, right? We look at teams like Indiana, which most of their team were older players that transferred in. You would think that a lot of teams would be coming from, or a lot of players would be coming from like Indiana or maybe a place like Clemson, right? Clemson had one of the most mature, I want to say rosters. I was kind of surprised that you didn't mention Clemson. To give you an example. So it's just interesting. Texas A&M, you know, they got a lot of players. We'll see how many from there get drafted. Quick take. What college do you think will have the most drafted players in this draft?
Not just because they sent so many people. I do think Texas A&M's defense is getting shredded by this draft, and I do think they might lead a lot of people in getting drafted. Like, I think all their corners, linebackers, and safeties are in the draft, which doesn't that makes sense too, though, because if I remember, and you could probably correct me if I'm wrong, weren't they one of the older teams in college this year too?
This is true. This is definitely true.
I want to say, like, I could be wrong, but I feel like I heard that. So yeah. And then I was just reading something. I was looking to see if I could find if it was true or not. Apparently, the NFL invited a Canadian quarterback to the combine as well.
Really? What was his name?
Taylor Eggersma. I just saw I just saw ELGERSMA. Like I just saw a report pop up, so I was looking at it.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that.
Him and Kyle Trask are going to be throwing to the players.
Him and Kyle Trask, you said?
Yep.
Interesting. I'll have to look into him and see what I can find out. You said he's from Canada?
Yeah, so okay, so he's not actually going to be playing. He's not going to be competing in the combine. He's just there to throw. He was I guess training camp with the Packers in August and floated around to a couple different teams. Interesting.
Very interesting. Also, real quick before I forget, shout out to all of the U.S. Women's national hockey team winning gold against Canada today. I don't know if you saw it with the last minute overtime goal. That was ridiculous with the, it was just really amazing to see them win, and shout out to the women's hockey team. I don't know if anybody here likes hockey. I like hockey. So shout out to the women's team. Yeah, I'll have to look into that player. But yeah, man, let's kind of get into this. I know Mystic's late. Maybe he fell asleep or maybe something happened, I don't know. So hopefully he joins us, but let's kind of get into it. We have today we're going to be talking about tight ends in the DBs as well. I have a lot of players that I want to talk about. You have some players. You want to go first, or do you want me to go first? It's up to you.
You can start off if you want. That's fine.
All right, we'll start off with the tight ends if you don't mind, if that's okay with you.
Works for me.
All right, so first off, I'm going to bring out, and just before you guys know, or I'm sorry, before I get into this, I'm going to let you guys know that we're going to be talking about not necessarily who we think first round picks are going to be. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're going to just point out players that we're interested in that maybe first round talent, could be a mid round or a late round talent, right? It's just people that we think that, have something to show and could possibly be drafted in this draft, right? So the first guy I'm going to bring out of Ole Miss, Daquan Wright. He's versatile athletic tight end for Ole Miss, who emerged to be a legitimate NFL prospect after transferring from Virginia Tech. He stands around 6'4", 255 pounds, right? no pun intended there, brings a modern, basically a modern tight end build that fits well in spread and play action heavy offenses, right? He has his strengths basically, just so you know, he had 39 receptions, 635 yards, and 5 touchdowns, averaging an impressive 16.3 yards per catch. He really stood out to me in the Miami game in the semifinals. And he had some catches, man. And though he was a tight end, he looked like a much bigger monster receiver out there than I would say tight end, right? Some of his strengths you might see is his athleticism. Is one of his biggest traits. He's a smooth mover for his size. He has good acceleration. He can be used in different alignments. He can play the outside. He can play the slot. A lot of different things he can do. He was very impressive after the catch too. Not only does he catch the ball very well, after the catch he goes blazing. Has the breakaway speed, the quickness to get away and get the yards after catch. Some concerns though is more about his consistency. There are times where he's not very consistent, right? He can struggle with physical defenders who disrupt his routes. That's kind of a thing as well. But there are certain areas that I think with some technique, he could definitely become, I don't want to say quite an NFL starter, but definitely a tight end too, who can be a major contributor and eventually could be a starter in the league, especially with his athleticism, how big he is, how he plays the game, and his knowledge of the overall receiving routes. Some NFL comparisons, people compare him to Evan Engram, Mike Gesicki. That's kind of concerning because Mike Gesicki wasn't a really good blocker. But also Noah Fant is another name that people throw around. A lot of people say that he could very well be an early day 3 pick. I'd like to see what he does in the combine, because I do think he could move up in the late day 2 round, to be honest, 3rd round pick. What do you think?
I think the Mike Gesicki comparison is spot on, if I'm honest. He's a vertical threat tight end who struggles against the run, basically. He struggles in run blocking. If he's taking on a safety, okay. If he's taking on a corner, you feel pretty decent. He's taking on a linebacker, it's going to be a rough day at the office. For a developmental tight end, you could put more weight on him, so that's a plus. He's very athletic, so
he's tall, man. And when I saw him against the Hurricanes, right? Ole Miss versus the Hurricanes, there were some catches he made, and it looked like didn't matter who was defending him, they couldn't stop him at one point. I think at one of them he ran all the way for a touchdown. In fact,
I'll be honest, he's a better route runner than Mike Gesicki was coming out of college, so I'll give him that. He can be a deep threat tight end too, like Ingram is. So that I understand the comparison they were making there. For a developmental tight end, yeah, late rounder, 4th, 5th, 6th, yeah.
I could. He's probably gonna end up day 3, maybe, but who knows? Maybe he has an outstanding combine and climbs his way into day 2. It's very possible. Very possible. Who do you got, Steve?
All right, I'll start with my mid to late round guy, Jack Injuries from Texas. Talk about hands for days. He's much like a lot of the tight ends in this draft will be, I think, a common theme. They struggle in run blocking. He's a lot in that same situation. A lot of his problem is technique, though. It's not his size. Like, we're talking about a guy who's 6'4", 240. He could easily get to 250. He's a decent athlete. He struggles at his separation with speed. but his hands and ability to run routes, especially intermediate and over the middle of the field, make up for that tremendously.
Mm.
He's a lot like the gentleman you just spoke about. He's going to be a day 3 pick, maybe a late day 2 if he shows out nice at the combine.
Mhm.
But I think once they start doing the catching drills, he's going to shine there and maybe catch some eyes. But from a run blocking inline tight end, that's where he struggles. And I think a lot, like I said, a lot of these guys are going to struggle there.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think run blocking remains, an issue for him. And I think it's more of his technique. I think he has a poor technique. Also, from what I've read and what I've seen, is that he doesn't necessarily have the best breakaway speed either. That's something that I kind of find to be an issue. Daquan Wright, who we were just talking about, has breakaway speed. The yards after catch ability is really good. Can this guy do it? I know he's a really good pass catcher, but just like Daquan Wright, I don't think he's going to be used very much as an inline, blocker at all. You're really just going to see him moved around as an addition to the receiving game, to be honest. That's what I think would happen. Any other thoughts on him?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
Yeah, 6'4". I like the size, that how tall he is. But very interesting. My next tight end that I'm going to talk about, and I know people are going to say I'm biased, but I'm going to try to give you the most objective report that how I feel about this guy. Max Clare. Max Clare out of Ohio State. He is definitely the definition of a modern receiving tight end prospect. He transferred from Purdue to Ohio State. When he was at Purdue, he was considered one of the best tight ends in Big Ten football, let alone the nation. He was considered to be one of the best. He offers your prototypical size, at tight end. He's very athletic, profile to align in inline or in slot or flexed outside if he needs to be. He had 51 catches, 685 yards, 4 TDs. Now, you're probably thinking, that's not a lot for a tight end, especially at Ohio State. Well, I will tell you this. Ohio State arguably had not just one, not just two, not just three, but they had like 4 tight ends that could start at any moment. And there's one of their other tight ends are at the combine as well. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. There was a lot of people in the room who were just as good as he is, in my opinion. But I want to give this guy a shutout. He led the team in receiving while his 2025 season at Ohio State, he produced only 43 receptions for 448 yards and 2 touchdowns. As I said, it's due to a deeper rotation. He totaled 116 catches, 1,329 yards, and 6 touchdowns over his college career. His strengths, I would say he shows smooth route running, good short area quickness, reliable hands. He's a hands catcher. I like that. I don't like to see receivers or tight ends catch with their body. This guy catches with his hands, and it's very reliable. So I definitely like that about him. It basically allows him to consistently find soft spots in zone. As a blocker, he plays with solid effort, functional strength, flashing extension, grip strength, willingness to finish plays. Even if technique refinement is still ongoing, he still has a lot to offer when it comes to blocking. His weaknesses mainly revolve around ceiling and consistency rather than glaring flaws, right? Like you look at him, you're like, well, can he get any better than where he's at now? Or, can he consistently produce, consistently catch the ball at a very high production. While he's athletic, he isn't considered an elite deep threat or rare mismatch athlete compared to top NFL tight ends. So that's like the biggest knock on him. I would say overall, he's definitely a tight end 2 with starter upside. That means you could develop him into being that starter, right? Particularly on offense that emphasizes spacing or multiple tight end sets. This is the kind of a guy that you want. A lot of people compare him to Dalton Schultz, Jake Ferguson, even Pat Freiermuth, right? Those are some names, especially based on his mold and size. Something I think he needs to do is maybe improve a little bit more on his athletic traits, right? Get his body in the right shape and right mind. I think he could do a lot more with that. But I think having the fact that he could be a consistent tight end for you that could eventually become a starter, I think that's something to look at. Definitely his tape shows some good athletic ability. Specifically, if you look at his Purdue tape, I think it's really impressive as well. What do you think of Max Clare?
So the one thing I do like about Max Clare, and I'm not saying he is this guy. I'm not comparing him to this guy. That's not what I'm going to do. But I'm going to reference because of something this guy said. Max Clare used to be a quarterback. Travis Kelce always said one of the best things that helped him learn how to be a tight end and learn how to understand zones, because Travis Kelce's biggest weapon in the NFL and the thing that made him who he wasn't just his ability to get yak, but it was his feeling for soft spots in zones and timing with Patrick Mahomes and knowing where to be when Mahomes needed him. I think that's an upside for any tight end or even wide receiver too. The ability to have been a quarterback and know what that quarterback is looking for when he's in scramble drill, when you're running routes. So I do like that. You said he needs to work on his athleticism, and though I don't disagree, he needs to work on his functional strength. Like, again, I don't want to beat the dead horse, but run blocking is important in the NFL for a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
He struggles against edge rushers. He struggles against blitzing safeties. Like, you're your number 2 tight end. I get it. And a lot of times you're going to be the dude helping a tackle on one side or the other. But you got to be able to at least be effective enough so you can split out, and at least they worry about you somewhat. But I do like him. He's a good prospect. He's another one of those over the middle of the field threats that once he finds that soft part in the zone, he's gonna eat you alive there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's a really good analysis. I actually was kind of thinking that because there was times at Ohio State where I felt like he had all this athleticism and hype around him, and I could see where he could run his routes and catch the ball effectively. But when things aren't going to the way that the play was meant to be executed, it just seems like there was some times he got lost out there, right? He wasn't in the right spot. It wasn't natural to him. The next guy I'm going to bring up definitely is more natural of finding those soft zones. But before we do that, make sure you hit the like button, right? That's number 1. And never late than ever.
It's that time. Mystic in the building. Turn that on. Mystic. Crowd so loud, got the rival silent. Run that score up, ain't scared of nothing. Mystic on the field, yeah, we came to crush him. Pass, pop,
all right, Mystic, welcome to the show, man. Never late than ever.
Jesus. Oh, man. as ridiculous as my life is sometimes, if you guys just don't see me in the first like 5-10 minutes, or I'm not backstage prior to, just blow my ass up.
Okay, I will start calling you, man. I respect people.
Dude, I'm
I
sitting
you
here.
too.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm sitting here. I literally just got done eating dinner. And I'm sitting down. I'm like, it's one of those Happy Gilmore moments. There's something I'm supposed to do today.
It's called being a father, man. I know what you're talking about. I definitely.
But I'm here. What's up, fellas? What's going on, everyone? How we doing tonight?
Good, man. Make sure you hit the like button first of all. No, we got into our picks. I mentioned earlier. I talked about Daquan White out of Ole Miss, right? And I also talked about Max Clare out of Ohio State. Now, the funny thing is, both of them are more of your receiving tight ends. They're not really your inline
The blockings, if you will.
block. Well, Max Clare can inline block. Don't get me wrong, right? I just don't think he's straight up. I think his problem, and it's something Steve said, and I agree with him. He needs to learn to, like a quarterback, he needs to learn how to read defenses in the way of understanding where the soft areas are for zone, right? Zone defense. Because with his ability, I see traits that remind me of a Travis Kelce, for example.
Yep.
But he doesn't know where to be on the field when things aren't going right. You know what I mean? He needs to understand where he needs to place himself. But the athletic ability is there. The catching ability is there. He has really good hands, and everything. So it's just a matter of how you feel. Now, Steve, name the tight ends you brought up with him so he knows.
I just brought up the one, which was Jack Injuries right now. Texas.
Yeah.
Where's Jack out of?
Texas.
East Texas.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I did see him today. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Nickname Glue Hands.
okay, I like that. Okay, so where's he being projected at?
Day 3.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess better late than never, right? I guess I can just jump out of the gate here. Funny enough, kind of what you were just talking about. We're talking about hands, guys. Well, I found a really good blocker that has physical upside. People think he will believe to be a solid number 2 tight end. Project for sure when it comes to running routes, catching the pass, whatever. But Josh Cuvis, 6'3", 257 out of Alabama. They're projecting him to be a late, anywhere from 5th to 7th round guy, but definitely a big physical dude, great blocker, super athletic. Just kind of not sure what you're going to get out of him when it comes to that pass catching situation. It wasn't really used a lot in those situations at Alabama.
Interesting. What else can you tell me about him?
Honestly, I didn't really find a whole lot about him. It was just like everyone expects him to be a late round dude because, again, he just doesn't have. He's going to be, again, that run blocking specialist. If you got your tight end on the one side, he's using the routes. He's always going to be on that backside doing your dirty work. He is a dirty work type of guy, not someone you're going to draft and say, well, you're going to be our number 1 tight end this season. Nope, that ain't going to work out for you.
He has
Definitely
9 and 3/8 inch hands, according to this. But this is just estimated because we don't know the final measurements yet.
100%.
It
The
does
other
look.
guys, honestly, I got more on. I couldn't really find anything too crazy with him that was just like, oh, cool. It's just he's a project, man. He's a really good blocker. He's a project. If you want to turn him into, get that all around game, he has the athleticism to have the all around game, but it's not there right now.
Well, something I did find interesting for him is that he's played 54 college games. That means 1,656 snaps.
Hey, that sounds like a guy who's going to be there. More reliable, if you will.
Very interesting.
Really good route runner as well. especially short to intermediate route running is pretty decent. I know you. I don't. I'm not gonna say you're wrong or anything because it's all based on opinion, right? I don't necessarily. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of his blocking. I think he's again like a lot of these tight ends in this class. He struggles. He's good if he's blocking a safety or
Yep.
a corner, but when he has to take on a linebacker in space or come up and crush onto an edge rusher, he gets overpowered. So it's
Mm.
more functional strength stuff. It's the stuff that like what we said with the last three guys. It's functional strength
Yep.
that he can work on in the NFL.
And if I'm being honest, I feel like I heard a lot about that. Whenever I was reading through a lot of these guys, it was like some of them don't have like the lower body strength that they want to see coming in as tight ends. They see, they got size, this and that, but not a lot of the muscle in certain areas to do what you just said.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy that I think he does have what you're asking for, which I'll bring up here in a moment. But something I'll say is this guy kind of reminds me of not being your number one starter, but being your tight end 3 or tight end 2. So it allows you to be able to run the multiple tight end sets, right? Having this guy in addition to like the guy who I just brought up, Max Clare, for example, he works best in a multiple tight end setup. That's what this kind of reminds me of, like having him and whoever you have another tight end on the field at the same time, right? So you're not expecting him to be a inline blocker. He can be more of your offensive weapon, kind of a tight end. If you understand what I'm talking about.
100%, 100%.
So
I don't know if we want to go. Have Steve give out to drop his second? Since what you gave 2, you said.
yeah,
Steve drop his second.
Yeah, and then you can drop your second, then I'll drop my third.
Perfect. Sounds good. Go ahead, Steve.
And then I'll have a honorable mention after everybody's done because he's going to go undrafted, and I don't even think he's at the combine, but I do have an honorable mention later. I'll just go and get him out of the way. Overall, the guy that everybody believes is the best tight end that I've seen in this draft, the consensus number 1 tight end in this draft, Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. All around, he's a better run blocker than people will ever give him credit for. And he's a very good pass catcher. At times, he can fight the ball, and it's something he's really going to have to work on, especially when you get him against a corner that isn't afraid to be physical with him. He's more of that undersized tight end. I believe he is 6'2", 6'3". I think he's going to come in under 6'3". But he has the speed. They believe he's going to run a 4.5. I can believe that. He's coming in, probably going to show up around 240. He is, for an obvious reason, the number 1 tight end. Like, if you're looking for the guy who's probably going to be the one guy who transitions to be a tight end 1, it's more than likely going to be Kenyon Sadiq.
Honestly, I don't have anything really bad to say about the guy. I think it's you see the skill set, you see what he's already done at the college level. I think it just what organization does he fall to, and will he be developed properly to see his game take the next, that next step at the next level? Like that's really my question. It's not really about him. It's just about the organization he goes to.
Yeah, I wonder, like, when you're looking at tight ends, do you want a more athletic tight end that is really going to be just an extension of your receiving game, or are you looking for that tight end that can be an extension to your run game, right? And the inline blocking, like, what is the right answer here when it comes to tight ends?
The real answer is there isn't, because it depends on which way you're wanting for a tight end, right? If you're running a 2 tight end sets, it behooves you to have one who's probably a better pass catcher and then one that's a better run blocker, right? In our instance, right? I liked when, and a lot of people didn't. And again, for the Dolphins fans, when we drafted Durham Smythe and Mike Gesicki, that's exactly what we got. We got one guy who was a better blocker and a guy who was a better pass catcher. And we had hoped that when used in two tight end sets, they could offset each other. Durham was a solid pass catcher, not great, but solid. And Mike in college looked like he was at least willing to block. So for tight ends, you're looking for both. It's just which one do you need out of the two?
Yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. I'm just curious because looking at the different tight ends, like you have most of them that are more of your athletic type, not really inline blocker. You even mentioned it yourself, Mystic, how you were saying that some of the prospects seem like they're more built on the upper side rather than their lower body. You know what I mean? And even this, they're questioning his size. I was reading some of the weaknesses, and they're saying that his size could ultimately be a weakness, being only at 245 pounds. He's more on the leaner side. And they also say his blocking technique is inconsistent. I don't really know if you're really grabbing this guy for his blocking. You know what I mean? It sounds like more you're going after him for his receiving ability and whatnot.
Playmaker.
Is there a tight end that you could compare him to? Like, who's his comparison?
Sadiq's.
Yeah.
We said his name earlier. The kid who was with Jacksonville.
Evan Ingram?
It was Evan Ingram. Thank you. Yeah. Just a better blocker.
I'm just, I was curious what you guys would say. I Mystic is gonna love this, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. But according to NFL Draft Buzz, which I like to see what they have to say, I use them in primarily Walter Football, and I try to read between both to kind of understand where the real information is at. Right? They're saying that based on similarity level, 76% are saying that he's Sam Laporta.
Interesting.
I don't know if I agree or not. What do you guys think?
I can see that.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Those are my thoughts. Go ahead, Mystic.
Yeah, I think I have to watch a little more tape about Sadiq to really be able to give my full thoughts on him being compared to Laporta. But I mean, that could be a very good thing. So this next guy I got here, I got another, late, maybe mid to late round gem potentially, depending on what you're looking for. Hopefully I can pronounce his last name correctly. I'm gonna give it a try. We'll see. But 6'4", 250 at a Texas A&M. I got Nate. Borkircher? Hopefully, if I chopped it up, I apologize. But at the end of the day, according to what I read, another physical run blocker. But I mean, this guy, he's got some speed to him. The question with him was his usage. He didn't really get used a lot as a pass catching tight end at Texas A&M. Consistent hands when they used him showed that speed, but they're kind of more saying that he's like a turn and burn run block type guy. So we'll see. They gave him comparisons to Dalton Schultz and Jake Ferguson. So, definitely some good comps. But again, I guess you kind of how do you want to approach that prospect? He had 6 years in college and limited usage as a pass catcher, but again, a lot of people liked him as the run blocking guy. Again, it's all about how you see it. That's just kind of things that I was picking up. I was looking for those more bigger tight ends to kind of see what people thought, and this was just another guy that I was like, maybe someone to watch for sure.
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree with that. This guy's the pronunciation. You were close. Essentially, it's Borkircher. is how you pronounce it. Yeah,
not bad.
Yeah, you didn't do too bad, to be honest. But I expect him to be a late round pick. There's not a lot of information I found on him because I did see his name and I was kind of seeing what I could find out. But he's 6'4", 250 pounds. They also say the estimated 40 times about a 4'8". You know, the other guys we were looking at have much faster times. This guy, I think, would be more of your inline blocking kind of tight end, to be honest. Based on what I saw.
Which works for me.
Mm-hmm.
I echo that. Again, like I said earlier, there's not a whole lot of guys in this class that are run blockers. This is one of the 3 I believe I put in my run blocking tight ends.
Yeah.
Like, again, he's solid. He's a solid run blocker. I don't necessarily want him catching the ball for me. He has some speed, but he's very Durham Smythe-ish. Like, it's a guy who people forget about him. He'll get the ball and then he'll get some yards out of it.
Yep.
But mainly you forget about him because they don't use him, and he's literally just taking the head off of edge rushers. So again, this is one of those guys I think he'll end up probably going undrafted, in my opinion. We'll see what he looks like after the combine and pro days and all that. But if you're looking for a guy to develop that could probably make your 53 because he can block well and might be your tight end 2 or 3, probably your tight end 3 who's out there for your big body sets. Yeah, I could see him getting that position.
Very interesting. Any final thoughts on that, Mystic? I don't have any more thoughts.
No, I'm kind of with you guys. Yeah, like it's just like I said, I like to find more late rounds, and then I do got an early round guy for my last one. But I'm trying to find these guys that no one talks about. We hear so much about these first, second round picks all the time. I like to find those dudes that no one talks about. So what you got for us?
All right. So this guy, I think if he has the right combine and right pro day and everything, there's a chance this guy could end up being a day 1 guy. And the reason for that, out of all these tight ends, he's the one that screams at me as being a true NFL starting tight end. He's already pro ready. And I'm surprised he's not higher on some of the boards I've seen. Okay. I'm going to go with Sam Roush. He's out of Stanford. He's 6'5", 260 pounds of pure tight end, right? He's emerged to be a complete pro-ready tight end in this draft class. Over his Stanford career, he totaled 119 receptions, over 1,200 yards, 4 touchdowns. He started 34 games in his career. Last season, he had like 49 catches, 545 yards, and like 2 scores, which was his most productive single season. Some things that stand out about him, right? In terms of on-field profile, Roush blends size, physicality, and scheme versatility well, which means that you could use him all over the place, right? Not just in one position doing one function. He can do a lot of things very well. He is regarded as a prototypical Y tight end who can align inline, in the slot, or detach into space and contribute as a receiver. That's to kind of give you some idea. Roush has solid hands. He can create separation with his long arms. He can bring in the catches very well. He is what I call a hands catcher, not a body catcher. I mentioned that before in regards to catching. I don't like tight ends or receivers that catch with their body. I like, if I see you, putting this type of a hands out like this, I can tell you're going to catch with your hands. He does it very, very well. What else can I say? Across his collegiate tape, and at events like the Senior Bowl, he demonstrated enough athleticism to separate from defenders, adjust route depth, make contested or difficult catches while working through contact traits that elevators see as a predictive of NFL successful receivers. So that's something to think about. His blocking is another aspect that is a whole nother game. At one point, I heard a commentator in one of the highlights I was watching. They were saying that this guy not only it catches well, he's pretty much one of the best blocking tight ends in the country. That's what they said during his game. And it was true. I was watching him block. His technique, his stance he gets in, he actually blocks, right? It's not like he's serviceable or puts in effort. No, he actually comes in, no hesitation, does his job. He shows physicality and effort on every play. He busts his ass, engaging defenders with strong hand placement, follow through, and technique. Analysts note that while his pad level and hip flip mechanics are not yet perfect, occasionally leading to some missed alignments, it is something that can be worked on, and he could definitely perfect his game. His weaknesses, though, and this you got to take with a grain of salt because we've kind of been saying this about a lot of the tight ends we've talked about today, is sometimes being more consistent, right? There's been games where I've seen that he's had some sloppy drop passes, for example, right? That can happen. But when he's on it, he's on it. His blocking technique can fluctuate at times because of his pad level, but that's something that you can work through, to be honest. Clearly for me, he is a multi-role tight end too, with significant starter upside. I think with some very slight refining that he can learn in his rookie season, he'll be starting for you in no time as your starting tight end. People have said about him that he's not always the most flashy flashy tight end that's out there. He definitely has the athletic ability, the size, the physicality. He does have breakaway speed as well. Comparisons that people are talking about him, Dalton Schultz, Jake Ferguson is a name that I've seen thrown around. But ultimately, because of his instincts, how he plays and understanding of the receiving route tree, this is a guy, if I'm in to be honest, I was going to say ultimately he's a day 2 guy. But like I said, based on what I saw on tape, I think there's a possibility he could be a day 1 guy. It could very well happen. More than likely day 2, but I think they're a late first round. I would not be surprised. What do you guys think?
I saw the name earlier, but hadn't really done much research. But listening to you talk about it, I'm like, yeah, I got to look into this guy. Like, some people even list him at like 6'6". So, I mean, it's going to be curious to see what he comes out for intangible wise at the combine. Definitely the big dude you want at tight end.
Yeah,
48 games in college, great durability. Looks like has pro bloodlines. He's a grandson of Phil Olsen, and I guess a great nephew of Hall of Famer Merlin Olsen, or whatever. They're saying perfect prospect to pair with Sam Laporta. Some believe perfect prospect for a John Harbaugh in New York. Plug and play tight end, reliable blocking capabilities. Like, very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Look, for me, like, I know, like, even if you're looking at like sites like the NFL Draft Buzz or Walter Football or someplace like that, a lot of people have him as a day 3 guy. But I'm going to tell you, after the combine, if he puts in the right performance, he's going to be a day 2 guy. They liked him at the Senior Bowl. He'll be a day 2. The question is, can he get to day 1? I think if he puts out an outstanding performance at the combine and at his pro day, It is very possible, but in my opinion, out of these tight ends that we've watched, even the guy who's supposedly going to be the number one tight end coming off the board, right, Kenyon Sadiq, which I like him. I think this is the overall best tight end because of the overall versatility he has and the ability to be an inline blocking tight end along with the wide receiver tree, right? That's why I like this kid. And whatever team gets him, shout out to them. Yeah, I liked what I saw on tape. I think his the effort he puts in, and along with all the traits that he has and his the abilities he has, I think it's something that NFL teams might be like, yeah, I need some of that on my team. To be honest, we'll talk about our team just for a second here. The Miami Dolphins, I think we could definitely use this guy, right? If you had him and Dulcich on the team, I'd be happy with that tight end room.
Dude, this would be he'd be real nice. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I might argue the guy that I'm gonna tell you guys about next year. I think I kind of want to let Steve go.
Okay.
I mean, if I gotta go, I don't care.
Yeah.
But like,
have you watched the tape on this guy yet? Have you watched Sam Roush?
No, I need to go check him out. I mean, he goes to Stanford too. So
to me, and we'll definitely debate it. But I think for our team, this would be a good pick. Not saying first round. I'll take him late day 2, third round pick. I'll take it all day long. I'll take if we get this guy and we address our secondary, which we'll talk about here shortly. I think that would be a perfect draft for my team. But any team needing a tight end, I think you're dumb if you don't at least look at this guy. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, I can only imagine like the 49ers putting this guy with like a George Kittle for a couple seasons. Like that would be nasty, dude.
Yeah. All right, Steve, take it away. Mystic wants to go last.
That's fine. He can take the stolen tight end last.
It's not my fault you don't put your list in the chat. You son of a. Oh, I guess I didn't scroll it far enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah, your links.
Okay. I'm just messing around. I don't care that much. I'm gonna take Justin Jolly out of NC State.
Ooh.
So, another 6'3", 250 tight end with and for me, this stuff matters because of catch. Your catch radius for me depends on this. He has 10.5-inch hands. So he has a good size hand for a catcher. He's he plays 50-50 balls like a guy playing basketball instead of football. His ability to reposition, maneuver, quick step in and out, his diversity when it comes to his route running. Again, these are a lot of these guys are like your tight end 2 or your tight end 3, like the guy who's gonna come in and like be your pass catcher, not totally relied on as your run blocking. He can do it. He's not, I don't want to say solid. He's less than solid at run blocking. But he can at least get out there with a tight end and help a tight end or a tackle and help a tackle, right? Or if you're sitting a running back out of the backfield, him and a running back can attack a edge rusher together, and with a chip, he can get a handle on in the run block. So, but his strength is going to be as the pass catcher, going out running routes. Definitely a guy, another day 3, maybe day 2, late day 2 pick that if you're looking for your number 2 tight end, which I honestly believe the class is mainly number 2, number 3 tight ends, like I said, I'm not mad at it. I think he'll perform well at the combine. He's athletic enough. I think his vertical will be decent. Good kid.
What are your thoughts, Mystic?
I like it. I don't know. Would we say like maybe a similar prospect? I think he's a little smaller, but maybe a similar prospect to like a Kyle Pitts coming out. Really good really good contested catch, body catch guy. They're saying F tight end basically. High level of separation if he needs to at times. But yeah, needs to refine blocking techniques since it's seen to become a reliable in line blocker.
My only question is his size in question again? This is another shorter tight end, 6'3".
6'3", yep.
His weight is a little bit better, 250 pounds versus 240 pounds that I've been seeing on average. That would be my only question in regard, and also his run blocking. From what I've seen, it definitely needs refinement from what I'm reading.
Do you know what? Looking at him, just pull up pictures and look at the guy, and tell me he doesn't look like a slot or like a slot guy, wide receiver.
He kind of does. The one thing about his run blocking, though, Ali, remember
Yeah,
how earlier we were talking about functional strength?
yeah.
It's not that. It's technique. It's how he attacks the block. He's strong enough. It's just, it's how he attacks. He doesn't plant his feet well. It's all technique. It's stuff you can teach.
So one thing I do like about him, and this is something I mentioned in our day one combine video. If you didn't see that video, make sure you guys go check that out. We did that on Tuesday. Make sure you hit the like button over there as well. He's a two-sport player. He plays basketball too, right? And he catches balls like he does a basketball. And converts like the difficult to grab, catches. And I like that about him. And I mentioned that with one of our linebackers we were looking at and why he gets interceptions so well and the ability to be used in the offensive game is because he's a two-way sport type of player that has that catching ability. I do like that about him. If it's a matter of just technique, he just really just needs development, then so be it. But my question still remains, what is a good prototypical size of a NFL tight end? The guy
6'5", 260.
and see that's what I like. This guy's on the shorter end of that. So is that an issue for some? Is it really just his technique? His weight is almost right where we need him to be, but the size, the height, is that really a disadvantage for players? That's my question.
Ooh. I guess. I see what you're saying, but I don't know. At the same time, I feel like you can get guys nowadays that they might not be as tall, but sometimes that's when you get, maybe some quicker guys who can run some faster, more crisp routes. But again, I think it goes back to how you want to build your team, right?
Oh yeah.
I think that's really just what it comes down to at the end of the day. How are you going to build that team? Who's going to be your number one tight end? How do you want your number two tight end to be? Usually number two, you want to really be that inland blocker, dirty work guy. It just kind of, it varies. I like that guy, though. I like that guy a lot. That's definitely something. Like I said, it would not surprise me, though, if teams asked him to move to be like a slot wide receiver or something. That's what he looks like to me. First look, I'm like, dude, this guy looks like a wideout. That's crazy.
Yeah,
And just to throw it out too. Remember earlier I said there were 3 tight ends that were blocking. The gentleman you brought up to Ali, that was number 2, and number 3 was the special honors kid. I just wanted to point out because nobody's going to talk about him. I don't think he's even going to the combine.
Yeah,
Max Castleman out of Tennessee. Just go and watch him. In my opinion, he's my favorite blocking tight end in this class.
Interesting.
Okay, want to keep an eye on. I like it.
Since you gave honorable mention, I have an honorable mention who's going to be at the combine as well. Let me just get his first name. Here he is, Will Kazmarek. Will Kazmarek, definitely a great blocker, but really good pass catcher at the same time. He's also, and I know people are saying I'm biased, but no, he's probably not going to get a lot of looks because, if whatever. But at Ohio State, he was one of the 3 guys I said that could start at any point, right? Definitely has the hands. He's 6'5", 262 pounds. Just the prototypical size that I like. His hands are on a little bit smaller side. He's 9 4/8 size. I don't know if that's considered small. It is small to me, in just my opinion. But he's definitely a guy to watch. He looks like, when you see him, he kind of reminds me of one of those corn-fed farm boys, throwing bales of hail behind him or whatever, like it's nothing. That's what I like those kind of guys, those kind of football players. So definitely check him out. I'll do a little bit more in-depth analysis him later on, but he's definitely my honorable mention. Definitely not necessarily for my team, but for anyone looking for tight ends, especially multiple room tight ends, this is a guy that you may want to have in your room.
I like it. I like it. The only thing that I really know that I think, continue to read more about this next guy I'm going to tell you guys about. I think maybe I would want to see how old he is for sure. Looks like he was a 6-year senior. I have good old 6'5", 250 tight end out of Cincinnati, Joe Royer. Now, what I like about this guy is people are saying that this guy has like elite catch radius, high football IQ, and an absolute zone monster. Like, the dude will eat zones all day long, and I guess has the ability to have some, yards after catchability type stuff, right? Just what you want. Now, they do kind of question his top end speed. His, again, as all these guys do, run blocking needs to, to be more consistent. But this is what stood out to me. So obviously he wasn't an Ohio State guy. He transferred to Cincinnati. And then the 2 years at Cincinnati, when they really started to use him, this kid only had 2 career drops in 6 years and first 3 seasons, 1 catch, 9 yards, Ohio State, 2 catch, 10 yards, one catch, 5 yards.
What was the name again?
Joe Royer.
Oh yeah, Joe Royer. I know who you're talking about. Keep going.
He moved to Cincinnati and then set a college record at Cincinnati, 50 catches in a season for 522 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then followed it up. He only had 29 catches last year, but increased his average. He had 29 catches for 416, not quite the 500, but added 1 more touchdown than the year before, had 4 touchdowns. But for the kid, when they started using him, 2 career drops, those are some sure hands, man. I like me some sure hands. He's a big dude, 6'5". He already understands how to read defenses, find the soft spots. It reminds me of just like a young Travis Kelce, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I'm all for a guy like that.
Interesting. I have to look to see what he accomplished. I forgot about him, to be honest. Going back to Will Kazmarek real quick, and I'll check for Joe Royer too. Do you know what his QB rating was when he was targeted? Do you know what the average QB rating was?
What do you got?
137.8 on average.
Good Lord.
And you know what they say is his role as tight end? An blocking tight end, inline blocking. That's what they say his role is. QB rating for Joe Royer, which is still impressive, 121.4. That's still pretty good.
That's really good, for sure.
But it's just interesting, how Will Kazmarek is getting his inline blocking. But from my point of view, last season, if you watch it, I saw him on the more of a deeper threat, receiving threat than he was in inline blocking. But I don't know. He does both very well, in my opinion. So he's a guy. They say he's going to be undrafted. If that's the case, and it's my team, I'd take a chance on him. We'll see.
Oh, for sure.
Any other thoughts on the tight end room before we close it and go to DBs? Because I'm excited to talk about DBs.
No, sir.
Anything from you, Steve? Steve? Uh-oh, did he leave?
No, I'm here. Muted mic. I hit the button on accident. No, I wanted to say with Joe Royer because he was one of the tight ends I was actually going to talk about. His only real big knock for me, other than the normal, just the run blocking stuff, he has concentration issues, which is what led to the 2 drops he had. Sometimes he fights the ball, he'll still catch it, but he'll lose concentration, just with all the stuff going on, and then he'll attack the ball instead of just letting the ball come to him. In a bad way, not in a good way. I like guys that attack the ball, that don't they don't just sit in their spot and wait for the ball. He'll go and get the ball, but there's it's like his fingers are fighting to catch the ball sometimes. I would like him to work on that. But other than that, again, for a guy who's probably going to be a late day 2 pick, early day 3 pick, he's a solid number 2.
Interesting. I definitely agree. Definitely agree with that. But yeah, quick break in between position groups. Make sure you hit the like button. Mystic. So me and Steve kind of broke down the funny, I don't know if you want to call it funny, but weird video that came out of Iowa at the frat house. We kind of broke it down earlier in the show. Just so you know. What are your
weird stuff? I'm not even sure. I'm pretty sure if I go back and I search, I've been telling people this. I'm pretty sure there was some. This isn't the first time that there's some weird hazing stuff going on at Iowa University. I want to say that there was something going on at Iowa State, or maybe it was UNI. I'm not sure, but I feel like there was another university here in Iowa, dude, that I think a couple of athletes actually died or something, and they literally banned hazing at that university. So it's I've never really been a fan of that stuff. People take it too far. I think it's really a big deal. I'm sorry, but nothing's that important. It's just really not.
So a lot of people are commenting on this video, right? I was looking at the comments that posted on Twitter. One person said that everyone is misinterpreting this. What makes it funny is that the pledges think that the cops are fake. Really?
True. That's
dude, if these guys are fake, they really went all out with all that gear that they're holding up to.
I don't think they're fake. I think that the comment of the pledges standing there, seeing the cops coming in, and they think it's fake. I think that is 100% accurate.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They think it was fake or something. But let me ask you this: what type of hazing was this? Because when you see the initial video, there's a dude standing in there. He looks like he's wearing boxers and tennis shoes and a white T-shirt that looks like he vomited all over it. What the hell? What the hell was going on in this hazing video?
Dude, who knows?
I mean, even the floor looks like they shit and pissed all over it. Were they in the basement?
I was gonna say, I don't think that looked like vomit on his shirt. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, you don't think it was vomit? You think he wiped his own ass with it or something?
I'm not even gonna say what I thought it looked like.
Okay, all right. The fact that you were blindfolded too, it was weird. Yep. It was weird. But yeah, I'm looking at some of the comments on Twitter and I just thought it was funny. All right, DB rooms, right? We are going to talk about the DB rooms. This is probably one of the more exciting position groups to really talk about, in my opinion. You arguably have some of the best DBs coming out of college this draft cycle. In fact, I'll even tell you that I think you're going to see some of the best safeties come out of this college group as well. And I'm not even going to talk about who I think the number one safety is. Everybody knows, but I'm not going to talk about him. I'm going to talk about some other players that I want to talk about. And the first one I'm going to throw out is an Ohio State player, but not that one. I'm going to talk about Davison Igmanosin. That's how you say his name. Igmanosin. He's 6'2", 195-pound cornerback who began his college career at Ole Miss, of all places, where he earned freshman All-American honors before transferring to Ohio State. At Ohio State, he became a full-time starter and a key part of the college football's top defense, helping the Buckeyes win the college football playoff in 2024 and earning an all Big Ten honors thanks to his physical play and ball skills. Now, we're going to move to 2024 first before we go to the 2025 season. 2024, he was arguably one of the most physical corners in college football, right? He was touted as one of the most penalized corners. Like, if you threw it his way, more than likely there was going to be a pass interference penalty thrown, right? That was the knock on him. 2025, he refined his skills to the point where he was one of the least penalized corners, surprisingly, but still showed a lot of physicality in his play. So I have to give it up to him. In 2025, he recorded around 50 plus tackles, multiple pass breakups, couple of interceptions. His overall college football college totals include nearly 200 tackles, several interceptions in Power 5 play, showing he can contribute in both the pass defense as well as run support. Igmanosin's strengths begin with his physical profile, his aggression. I like aggression, Mystic. I like those violent physical players. This is one of them. At 6'2" with long arms, he has the size NFL teams covet. On the boundary, he plays with physicality, confidence in press coverage, and run support. He shows an ability to close on routes quickly, mirror receivers at the line, and makes plays on the ball in centered situations. Traits that helped him break up pass and compile solid tackling numbers, even as a primary outside corner. His athleticism includes reported a sub 4.35 40. Again, he's a 4.3 kind of guy, according to what people are saying. So that's pretty damn fast. Gives him enough speed to stay with most college receivers vertically and to recover when plays develop quickly. Over time, he's also shown improved discipline, cutting down the penalties, as I mentioned before. Now, for some of his weaknesses, though, and what people are saying is that early in Ohio State tenure, he was penalty prone. So, overly aggressive, which they say that can hurt him, right? Which could translate to unnecessary flags in the NFL. They say his athleticism is good, but not elite. If you can run a 4.35, I think that's really good, to be honest, and be physical at the same time. They say he can be grabby at times. I get it. He's a physical type of player. He's gonna, get grabby. He's gonna slap hands around. The thing is making sure that you become more disciplined with your game, and he was able to show that in 2025 versus 2024. Now, they're saying that he currently grades out as a day 2, day 3 kind of guy. I would say with the right performance at the combine, especially if he really shows off that 4.3 speed, he's a day 2 guy for me for sure. Does he have first round talent? There was times during the last season that I was like, yeah, this guy can be a first round pick. Holy shit, he could be. But overall, in the median of things, I'm going to say he's really ultimately, definitely for sure, a second round pick for me. That's where I think he ultimately lands. Overall, I think he's a great prospect. Team like ours, because we need corners. I wouldn't mind a guy like this, especially when you see him go up against more talented receivers that are faster, maybe bigger. I think he's the type of corner you kind of want on the outside. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm going to be the first to say I know nothing about the guy, so I'm not going to act like I know anything about him. I need to look into him.
Definitely need to look at him. 100%. What do you think, Steve?
I will definitely say, though I get what you're saying, if he didn't make it in the NFL, he would definitely have a career as a hands model. Because man, does that man use his hands? Wow. He's a
Yeah,
good player, but like I love his speed. His speed is very nice, especially since in the league now it's a lot of fast. It's just everything is fast and physical. So I
Mhm.
like that about him.
Here's the other part of it, though. Here's one part that I didn't mention real quick before you continue, which I did kind of mention it. I did say that 2024 definitely one of the most hands grabby players that got penalized the most, but 2025 you didn't see that. You didn't see he was a lot more disciplined. But one thing I didn't mention, think about it this way: who does he go up against in practice every day?
One of the best wide receivers in the
I
universe.
don't know. Can you tell us who's he go up against?
Jeremiah Smith, who's ultimately we argue is the best receiver in college football.
That's
So
right.
not only does he go up against Jeremiah Smith, he goes up against another guy that's arguably going to be one of the first receivers off the board this draft, Carnell Tate, right? Who's another blazing speed receiver. He goes up against nothing but top, 5-star, 4-star athletes. My point is that he has been able to be an effective player even against best talent that not just in games, but even in practice, right? So that being said, he's a guy I think that you could work with and make sure he maintains that discipline. And I think, second, maybe a third round guy, I think you could get a good starter. I think he's definitely could be a starter in this league. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve.
The only other knock I have on him, and it showed up for me during the game. I don't know how many people paid attention to it too much. He has a habit of leaving his corners out to dry out of a run fake. Like he'll bite on a run and get out of position, leaving the corner that he's supposed to be helping out, or the safety he's supposed to be helping out, get like basically leaving them in a position where there's a soft spot there because he bit up on the run. So it's not a bad knock. That's teachable stuff, right? But it is something that, like, when you're looking at him on film, it's stuff he needs to clean up. Again, great athlete. I think he'll be a better zone player than he will be a man, which will help with his handsiness because I think he is a smart corner. He has the physical traits you want in your corner. If he does end up as a day 3 pick, somebody's getting a steal, to be honest, because I think he can end up being like a Will Fuller, like one of those guys that like
Yeah.
he's not the number one, but if he's your number 2, you're pretty damn decent on defense in the corner room.
Yeah. I mean, we tell people that speed, people's like drool over speed, right? Being a sub 4.35 kind of guy, that yes speaks for something, right? I just think this guy has something that might surprise people. But if he does go late third, maybe fourth round pick, maybe that happens. I think it'll be a steal for whoever gets him. To be honest, that's what I think. But that's my first guy. Who's going next?
I can go. I can pull a Steve on this one. We can get the elephant out of the room here.
Okay. Is another one of Steve's guys? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, it's another one of those elephant in the room guys. Projected to be potentially one of the best, if not the best, corner in this draft. They're saying top 15 pick. You got 6 foot 190 Mansour Delaney. I'm all for it. Elite football IQ, sticky man coverage. They're saying he has smooth hips transitions. Even for his size, he has that junkyard dog mentality, is what Sports Illustrated saying, which is kind of funny. I kind of chuckled when I saw that. But yeah, I'm all for gritty guys, man. If you got the the play on the field to back it up, I'm all for it. I saw comps to Quinyon Mitchell and Devon Witherspoon, both elite corners in my opinion. Again, I am all for it. If you're telling me Miami's going to get this dude at 11, I'm for it. I have no complaints.
Okay. He's 6', 190.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
We'll see what his actual measurements are because I'm on the side of I like a little bit taller corners, to be honest. I don't like, in our team's past, we've always had shorter corners. I'm not a big fan of it.
I get it.
So I'm looking at, they say he's going to be top 10 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. His comps are Trent McDuffie. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think Kool-Aid played for Alabama, if memory serves me right.
Yes.
Mm-mm-mm.
So he didn't steal them from me.
Oh, okay.
I knew somebody, one of the three of us was going to talk about him, and I talked enough about him in spaces. So I just I'm not going to say I let him go, but like I just wasn't, I was looking at other things. I wanted to talk about guys I don't talk about all the time. This is my number one corner. And it's if McCoy didn't have the injuries, it would be closer. But between the two of them, it's Mansour Delaney. This kid he can play either man or zone. His size, even though I understand your concern, has never been an issue. Sometimes he gambles too much and he tries to play off of receivers and it gets him in trouble. It's the same stuff that Xavier Howard used to do. But he's smart and he's looking to take your head off. There's like there's videos of him on YouTube of him versus, I forget what school it was. He was playing off of wide receivers. Like he would go deep in his zone, let the quarterback think they have the receiver, and just blast them. There was a game against Arkansas where Taylon Green is staring down the receiver on a first down. The receiver's wide open. And because every time Taylon threw at him during the game, he was getting him killed, he refused to throw the ball there and tried to go deep and ended up having to punt the ball. But he stared down the receiver. He was there, but he didn't want to get the guy killed, so he took a deep shot. He literally looked it away and took the deep shot. You can see it. It's crazy. This kid is I'm not going to say special. I'm not going to say he's the greatest. He's got to show that. But for this draft, I think he might be the best corner in the whole thing.
Very, very interesting. Any other thoughts, Mystic?
Miami, don't fuck this up.
Unless one other guy is on there who happens to be a DB, but we're not talking about him today.
Don't worry. I have an honorable mention at the end too. Don't worry.
Oh, honorable mention? Well, for Miami, I don't have an honorable mention. I have, hey, if this guy's on the board, you take him, no questions asked. I have that going on right now. And everybody knows who that is. We won't say his name. It's okay. Go ahead, Mystic. I think you're next because you wanted to go last or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Oh, wait. Or did you just
win?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just went.
I'm sorry, losing it.
I just want to mess with you. Yeah, it's on Steve.
All right, I'll get the guy that I don't shut up about, even though I said I wasn't going to talk about guys I talk about all the time. That's why I'm getting this one out of the way, and it's mostly because I think he'll be a steal for anybody in this draft. Will Lee III from Texas A&M, the blanket, the man that the last again we talked about Igwinosin and him being a hands model. Will Lee could be his tag team partner in being a hands model because that man is handsy. He is a man-to-man corner. He is going to shut down your number one wide receiver, and you're going to have to fist fight him if you don't like it. He is physical. He is ready to hit. The problem is he gambles too much, and he's so physical he can take himself out of position for the play. He's got the size at 6'1". He could put a little weight on. He's only 189. I think you could get him closer to 200. I'm not that concerned. He's a little slow, which is why he's not going to be a day one pick. He's going to be a day two pick somewhere between the second and third round. I think he'll be there in the third, but I also won't be surprised if a team goes, oh, he reminds me of a certain guy who used to wear aqua and orange in Xavier Howard. Let me go get that guy at 4'5" and 6'1" and has a knack for, hey, I want what you're trying to give to that wide receiver. So,
Well, I really like 6'1". 6'1" is definitely the size of corner I personally like. In addition to that, you told me that I'm going to have to fist fight him if I don't like it. I like those type of players. Give me the violent aggression, players that are here to fight, because that's what I need on my team, to be honest. But yeah, I like the prospect. Texas A&M, their defense is pretty sound for the most part. I think in some cases people kind of underrate them in the sense, but I just think that for what they're trying to do, they're very well coached. I do agree with some of the flaws that they said that he has with his hands and stuff like that, but I think it'd be a good pick. What do you think, Mystic?
Again, I'm not going to tell you that I know who the dude is because I didn't really know who the dude was. That's a me thing. It's not a you thing. It's a me thing.
Mistake. This is the guy I told you when I was watching Theo Weiss that I found. Go watch Theo Weiss and him and Luther Burden and him during the Mizzou game, Texas A&M and Mizzou in 2024, and watch that game and really pay attention to the corner that's covering both of them.
I like that. Okay, I'll check that out for sure. Yeah, no, I'm all for it, man. I think we need to understand that we're probably going to be looking into some physical corners. That's probably what Halfley's going to want. He's going to want some physical, handsy dudes. So, curious to see how actually it all unfolds. But yeah, I'll definitely look into that guy for sure.
Very, very interesting. All right. So for my second dude, and this dude played for my hometown college team, University of Toledo. That's originally where I'm from. Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Let's talk about him real quick before I get into it too deep. Emmanuel is a Florida boy. His hometown is Tampa, Florida. Now I know why Steve wanted to talk about it, but I wanted to talk about him more. No offense, Steve. And some things that just to kind of give you an idea of what he is a 6'2", 202-pound safety, right? Emmanuel is a senior safety from Toledo Rockets who has developed into one of the most intriguing defensive back prospects in 2026, right? Thanks to his physicality, production, and playmaking instincts. Let me just tell you, this guy, when he stands straight up against other football players, he looks much taller than just 6'2". I'm going to point that out real quick. Number two, you talked about you're going to have to fight the guy from Texas A&M, right? You're going to have to get into a fist fight. Yeah, this guy, same thing. I think he could cause a fist fight, let alone he's going to actually be that brick wall that you're going to run into and give yourself a concussion, because that's how he hits players at times. Run game, no problem. Pass game, no problem, right? He amassed in 2023, he had 69 tackles, 4 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, and 3 pass breakups. That was just in 2023, right? And then a performance that quickly established him from a tone-setting defender in the Mid-American Conference, right? So he's a tone-setting type of defender. He continued to impose his physical style over subsequent seasons, compiling around 214 total tackles, 5 interceptions, 13 pass breakups, 11 tackles for loss, and as many as 9 to 11 forced fumbles over his college career. That's how many forced fumbles he created, right? The guy got an invite to the Senior Bowl. The guy had just unbelievable production. Toledo is quietly becoming one of those places you can go to get NFL talent. You guys may remember the Eagles drafting, who was it? Quinyon Mitchell, right? Starting corner out of Toledo. Well, this is another defensive back star that they're producing that they've brought out. McNeil's Warren's strength center on his physical presence, downhill aggression. I've been talking violence and aggression a lot. This is one of those guys. He's a ball production. He plays with violent attacking style, flying downhill to make tackles, inbox, or threatening the deep middle of the field with range and long strides that allows him to cover substantial ground quickly. His turnover ability, illustrated by his high forced fumble totals and interceptions, is his standout trait. This guy finds a way to knock the ball off running backs or wide receivers' hands in the middle of the field. Even when you think you got to step on him and you're running down the field, he finds a way to still catch you and knock the ball out of your hands. I saw that several times on his highlight reels, and his tape pops up with his ability. What else can I say about him? His size and length give him edge in disrupting passes and engaging blockers, and he has experience in multiple safety alignments, including free safety, strong safety, even slot nickel linebacker type roles, showcasing his versatility in the backfield. Listen, I honestly think this guy's probably going to end up being a strong safety in the league, and I'm going to tell you kind of why a little bit later. But he can play free safety if we need him to, right? He can do quite a few different things. If your team needing either free safety or a versatile type of defensive back, this is your guy. At the same time, Warren does have areas where NFL evaluators may see developmental work that's needed. His top end athleticism isn't considered to be elite, they say, but when he's on the field, I'm sorry, it's very hard not to say he isn't elite. With his ability to be able to track down players, find, nose for the ball. When he tackles, he really tackles. He's not a guy that waits for opposing running backs or tight ends or receivers to come to you to catch them and fall backwards. No, he seeks out the running back or the wide receiver or the tight end, and he makes the tackle. He's the one initiating the pain. He's the one putting you on the ground, right? They say that he's probably going to be a early day 2 kind of guy. I'm going to tell you, with the right combine, as I've said with some of these other players, he could very well end up being a late first rounder. I wouldn't be surprised at all. And I'm going to go ahead and shout out to the Miami Dolphins. If you get Mansour Delaney in the first round pick, let's say that's your first pick, and you followed up in the second round with this guy, I would walk away happy. I would be happy, no problem, because I think both of these guys would definitely make a huge difference in Miami. That's my quick snippet for a mock draft coming to near you. Let me give you some of his NFL comps, and this is kind of why I was saying that he's probably going to play strong safety. You guys remember, both of you guys remember a guy that we had in Miami, Deshaun Elliott, also played for the Lions. I think his most recently played for the Steelers, right? That's actually his main NFL comparison is Deshaun Elliott. Justin Reed is another guy, and Talanoa Hufanga is another guy that they compare him to. I like this kid. Go watch the tape. It doesn't matter if he played in the MAC or wherever he played. He puts it all out on the field. He plays with aggression and violence. His point of attack is off the charts for me. I like this kid. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm the team, I'm on the board, and let's say I'm in the second round, I'm there early, and he's there, I'm taking him. If I need a safety, I'm going to take this kid. Definitely watch the tape if you have. What do you guys think?
I'm with you. I'm gonna have to watch the tape, but I mean, a big physical guy like that, I'm all for it, man.
Definitely. What do you have to say about him, Steve? You know him because he's from your town anyway.
Well, let me put my lemon pepper steppers on for here for a second. Uh, so it says Tampa Bay, right? And that's because for people who don't live here, Tampa Bay is an amalgamation of two cities.
Hmm.
For those who are Dolphins fans, I would imagine most people remember Isaiah Wynn, correct?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They went to the same high school, Lakewood High. He is not just from Tampa Bay. He is from the Bird. He is from St. Pete. That kid is a better athlete than anybody will give him any credit for. He may not run the best 40, but he has quickness. He's not fast, but he's quick. He's smart. And he's, again, physical. You explained it perfectly.
Yeah, he's not the fastest guy, but still 4.5 is still kind of fast to me. You know what I mean? I've seen guys run slower than 4.5 and still perform in the NFL. It's what you do with your athleticism and how you use it that makes the difference. Go ahead, Steve. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead.
No, you're good. The thing that stands out for me, do you guys remember what made Jalen Ramsey so special during his draft? You remember what that was?
I don't remember, but go ahead. Go ahead.
His arm length.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey has 32.5-inch arms. Do not be surprised if his arms come close. They are long. He is linky at the arms. That's why I like him at free. His ability to be near corners and take up into the into bracketing coverages allow him to outstretch and snatch or take away balls. This kid, there's a chance he might be the second safety taken off the board. A very good chance.
It's definitely possible. One thing I forgot to say, for 2025 alone, he had 77 tackles and 1 interception, which was a pick 6. 3 forced fumbles and 2 fumble recoveries. Got second team All-American honors from Sporting News. So, and those long arms is another reason why he's so good at tackling too. He wraps up very well. So, yeah, I'm sold on this player. Like I said, if you get the guy that Mystic brought up, and we get this guy in the second round, I'd be happy with that, Steve. I think that would be a steal, to be honest. I'm just gonna point that out.
All right.
Go ahead, Mystic. Go ahead.
You ready for this?
Yes.
So, not quite the size that Ollie likes, Sounds like he's on the smaller side of things, Another 6-foot corner. 6 foot, 195 corner out of Tennessee, Colton Hood. Here he's a very physical guy who excels in man-to-man. Had 10 pass defenses this year. High level recovery speed, though. They think when it comes to that, he needs to improve his ball skills. Like he's always in the mix in the right area to make the plays, but you don't really see him breaking on the ball at good times. They kind of gave him, based on his aggression style of play, they kind of gave him, from what I'm seeing, a Trent McDuffie comp. But I think there was another guy that they comped him based on size. But I mean, from what I could tell, again, another physical dude. It looks like might be a handsy guy. I guess what kind of concerns me is the ball skills thing. Like, I guess how bad is it? I mean, if you got 10 pass offenses this year, I mean, I don't think you're necessarily in a bad spot. But are people concerned like that he's going to pick the ball off type of thing? I guess if you're concerned about that, I guess my thing to people is I think we forget that corners are usually the guys that aren't good enough with their hands that are supposed to be wide receivers. That's what I was always told. So I could be wrong. Who knows? But that's just kind of how I feel. I don't mind it. Again, I want to see the kids combine. They're saying he could be a second round pick, but I think again with a solid combine, I think he could be a late first as well. Just goes to show, I guess, how deep this cornerback safety class is. You got so many different guys that I think with good numbers are just going to fluctuate up and down that board.
Mm. Interesting. I don't know the player, so I have to go do some research and watch his tape. Sounds interesting though. Someone to really look at.
I'm sorry, I missed the name. What was the name? Was it Hood?
Colton Hood.
Yeah, Hood. The other corner from Tennessee, right? Yes. Yeah, I don't know that much about him. I was watching the other side of the ball, to be honest with you, or the other side.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. No, that's fine. That's all good. When we're on, we can go ahead and move to the next one. Let's chill. We're on to Ali now, or no? It was back to Steve. I
Steve.
messed the rotation up.
It's all right. I messed it up too. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Steve.
we're already back to me. I did corner, so I'll do safety. All right, so this guy, and you'll see the comparison to why I wanted to talk about Warren. Jalen Kilgore, the safety out of South Carolina. Coming into this season, he was the big ticket safety. Him and Caleb Downs were the two guys that most people were talking about. 33-inch arms. 33 and 2/8-inch arms. This man's out here with like cherry picker arms.
Mm.
His reach is just insane. He's gonna run probably in the 4.4s. He's smart. He's physical, and I think he's gonna play more of a box safety. Even though he's only 6'1", 211. The dude is just like when you watch him play. If you were in the stadium, you could hear him play. If that makes sense, like you just that cracking noise of pads. He's smart in the run game. He's smart, like he has a good feel for the direction that the runs want to go based just his own processes. If I had to say there was a weakness, like he's inconsistent with tracking the ball in the air, and like he's not great in zone all the time. Like if you're just having him stay as a free safety, just standing out in the open space, he can get his eyes start to wander and try and figure out where he should go. That's why I said I think he'll be best as like the second safety or the box safety, because his run defense is his strength and where he can use his physicality. Love that dude. He's going to be something nice on somebody's defense.
Mm. Very interesting. I have to definitely watch tape on him too. I hadn't really watched tape on him.
I'm unfortunately going to have to match Ollie's sentiment on that.
Sorry, Steve. I wish I had more for you, but yeah.
Honestly, though, again, I think.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I hate to say it, it's short for the viewers, but at the same time, I like these moments where we're bringing up guys that no one's really seeing. Because, again, it just goes to show you that there's so many different ways to look at the draft, to look at the prospects. How do you view it? What are you looking for? It's just all the lenses. There's so many lenses to what you're doing just to kind of show you what an NFL team would do. There's so many different guys viewing so many different things. And I'm glad that we can all find a way to show these different views and different angles and not all just be stuck on these first round talents. And it's good to hear about this stuff. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. And especially when you're looking at like the prospects alone, right? You have a great idea of who's going to be in the first round, who's all considered to be draftable. But then you start to wonder, like, what about the undrafted free agents? Who are the diamond and roughs that we're going to find as an undrafted prospect? And
Yes,
which
sir.
one of those undrafted prospects are going to go on to become starters day one, like some of the players that we've seen over the past year, right? Like Kader Kuhu, for example, right? No one thought he would be a starter. Nobody drafted him. We did. We took a chance, and day one he was a starter, right? So I like to find players like that. I like to hear about players that you don't think about or don't hear about at all. So like that's why I mentioned some of the players that you didn't know who Sam Roush was, Mystic. I'm surprised actually, but Sam Roush is definitely, in my opinion, one of the better tight ends in this draft. So it'll be very surprising. I do have my last person though that I want to bring up.
What do you got?
So this guy out of the University of Texas, Malik Muhammad, right? Standout junior corner, played with the Longhorns after 3 seasons with the program, declared for the 2026 draft. He's out of South Oak Cliff, which is Dallas area, from what I understand. So he lives in a state that does nothing but live, breathe, eat, dream, pray to football. That's what they do. They're I want to say next to Florida. They're probably the second, actually South Florida, I should say. And Texas is probably one of the biggest contributors to the game of football next to Ohio, to be honest. Those are like the 3 states you can get the best football players out of,
100%.
in my opinion. So with that being said, this guy, appearing in all 14 games as a true freshman in 2023, starting a couple and finishing with 31 tackles, an interception, 4 pass breakups, a blocked punt, return for a touchdown. He became a full-time starter in 2024, continued that role in 2025, compiling 97 tackles, 19 pass deflections, 3.5 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, and a sack over 41 games, and earning second-team All-SEC honors. Muhammad's strengths center on his size, athleticism, instincts as a boundary corner. Instincts are really important. That's not something we've talked a lot about today. That's something I like to hear. When you have the instincts or anticipation, that's another word that I really love with football players alone. Anticipation is key. The guy who brought up, I think it was Steve, you brought up the guy from Texas A&M, right? The corner out of Texas A&M, I believe.
Yes,
Or was it
Willie.
safety? Yeah. He has, one of the traits he has is anticipation. He anticipates where the corner, where the receiver, or what the receiver is going to do, not so much what he needs to do. He doesn't just cover the receiver, he anticipates them, right? This guy is very similar to that. I like that in a corner. At approximately 6 feet, 188 pounds, he has the length and speed to compete physically with bigger receivers and the burst to close quickly on routes. His performance in marquee games, such as logging 2 interceptions and tackle for loss against Oklahoma, demonstrated his ability to make game-impacting plays. That's what this guy does. He's a game-impacting type of defender. And that's something we also have to look at is he plays for in the SEC. The SEC has some of the best talent you see in a conference. He plays against NFL caliber receivers on the day, on the week, every week. So that's something, to really take away from him. In addition, he capitalizes on opportunities with his ball skills and anticipation. Remember that word, anticipation. Throughout his Texas tenure, he showed solid press man ability, quick change of direction, and the confidence to play tight coverage without giving easy separation. Traits that NFL teams value in starting outside corners, which I expect him to be. He'll play on the boundary. I think he can do that very confidently. At the same time, there's some areas where refinement is needed. He is somewhat penalty prone. He is a physical player. It can occasionally lacks in technique. That's something to kind of worry about him as well. And his footwork may need a little bit of work too. Projecting in the NFL, he is viewed as a day 2 corner. I expect him to go in the 3rd round. I think it'll be a good spot for him. And especially for defenses that value press coverage and contested catchability, this is a guy you kind of want to look at. His comps are Dante Jackson for his competitiveness and press skills, but also Darius Slay for his length and physical coverage style. I like that physical coverage style. I like this guy. Watch the tape on him. He was, in my opinion, one of the better defenders that Texas had. Seems like he put it all out on the field when I watched his tape. Really interesting prospect. What do you guys think?
I don't like that. One of the comps I saw for him was Cam Smith.
Oh, I didn't like that either. I don't go, I saw that and I was like, is that, I don't know about that. Because this guy seemed like he puts a lot more effort into Cam Smith. I didn't like that at all, to be honest.
Cam Smith at South Carolina was very handsy and more physical. So it just didn't translate once he got to the Dolphins. And there was a lot of mental problems there. So I was more of a joke than anything. This kid's good. I like him.
Yeah.
He's got the length. He's got the speed. He needs development. Like
I said, they have him projected as a 3rd round pick, and I think that's pretty solid. I think that's where he's going to end up. So
yeah, mid to late 3rd, early 4th. I'd love that.
Possible. Yeah. What do you think, Mystic? You've been quiet.
Well, I mean, when you don't know much about people, you can't really say much. I can't really, put myself in a bad spot. Be like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, I know this guy, and I don't know a damn thing.
Late to show, didn't do his homework. Just kidding. I'm messing with you.
I know. Shame on me. Ruler on the hand. Oh.
Talk about what you think about what you heard. So I told you he's physical. He tackles very well. He has instincts and anticipation. He's tight coverage, and people rarely get break away from him. Very rarely.
If I'm being honest, that just kind of reminds me of kind of more what you're. I don't want to say stereotypical, but more of what you're, in my opinion, your elite hybrid safeties look like in football. They can do it all. They're not just a box guy. They're not just a coverage guy. When you have an all-around guy like that, you can do so much more from a defensive perspective now. I mean, look at what Seattle just had with, Mike McDonald. Look what he just had. He runs a 6 DB set. Even Warry's back there. You got Witherspoon you can bring off the edge. Like, there's just so many different things that you can do when you have versatile guys. I mean, again, a Kyle Hamilton, if you will, in Baltimore. They move that dude all over. He's in the box. He's covering. He's wherever you need him to be.
Mm-hmm.
Those chess pieces go a long way in this league.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I have one more concern, if anything, he needs. I have to look at his frame some more. He's very light in the ass. Like, I think he's going to come in around 182, 183. I think that's very on par. He's very thin. I don't know how much more weight he could put on again. I'd have to look at his frame and really dive in more into that to see what that might look like with more weight on him. But with how physical he plays, I would be concerned with him getting out physicaled by the bigger receivers at that weight.
So they have him on the site you're looking at. I know they have him listed as 183. I've seen other list him at 188 to 190. So we'll see at the combine what he actually weighs. But I do agree. I do think he does need to gain a little bit of weight based on what I've read. But if you watch his game, bro, I think it's good. I think it's solid. I don't want to say it's overly elite or it's like first round talent, but definitely something to work with, especially if you need a guy to be a rotational player and help develop him, could eventually become a starter. this might be a guy to look at. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Especially with his physicality and the fact that he, I think he has better understanding on how to defend, much more athletic players, especially the fact that he's so battle tested being an SEC corner and starting so many games over the years. You know what I mean?
That's something too. Durability. The fact that he can play in the Southeast Conference against that high talent consistently year in and year out and be relied on him by his team to be there. That checks a box for me. I look at, durability, physicality. Do you have it between the ears? If you check those 3 boxes, we can have a conversation, right? That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'd say he checks those boxes.
Yeah, I want to say the only time that he had an injury scare was in 2024 against Arizona. I don't know if you guys ever watched that that quarterfinal game, Texas versus Arizona State. That was a hell of a game because I thought Arizona State was going to win that game, to be honest. But that was the only injury scare that I found because I was, looking about injuries. That was the only one that I found that they brought up. So
that's not too bad, though. That's not too bad. It's not like he has a history of it, cool. He had a scare. That's football, right?
Yeah, that's part of football. But he's displayed toughness, In fact, in that same game that he had the scare, he returned to the game in the fourth quarter. And they eventually won.
Yep. So, and that's determination right there.
Yeah. So for me, that wasn't too big of a deal. But yeah, I definitely agree. He's definitely have the ability to the wear and tear we don't have to worry about because there's not very many injury issues. I heard that his football IQ is really good too. There is someone said that at times he does play too conservatively, giving unnecessary cushion. Yeah, I agree with that, but that's something you could coach to as well. So I like the prospect. It's somebody definitely I'm looking at. What do you guys have? Who's next?
I can go next. That's fine. Well, it wouldn't be me if I didn't have an Iowa guy, right? And not only do I have just an Iowa, I have an Iowa guy who, like you guys, shout out to the local boys, from Pleasant Hill, Iowa, Mr. Xavier Nwakpa. He is 6'2", 200. They have him, they say 213. We'll kind of see where that is. 4-year, they have him listed as a defensive back. He was a safety, 4-year safety at Iowa. During that time, he helped command the back end of that defense, 18.6 points per game. Pretty nice for being a safety on the back end there. I also just looked up, and this was crazy to me, over his 4 years, he had 171 total tackles. Of that, 117 of those were solo. So, great, sure solo tackler. Last season alone had had 76 tackles this last season, but 50 solo tackles just this last year. 2 forced fumbles and an interception. So, dude likes to make plays. Hybrid box safety, high upside. There are kind of concerned at times about his ability to cover deep. So just kind of something to kind of keep an eye on there. Again, sure tackler, excels at the line of scrimmage. So again, that could be your strong safety, box safety. You want to put in there, stop the run. You're going to send him in, keep him down low type of thing if you have to. But I also think that he has the intelligence to be developed to get that, cover over the top, what you need coverage wise. Has the speed, athletic, in my opinion, to do what you need to do. Like I've always liked the kid. Again, a local guy. cool story too. I had actually told some people, in a space here. So he played at Southeast Polk during a time when that school was on the down. We heard about kids committing suicide. There was all sorts of just problems with, I think, drug use, and the high school was going just downhill. And this Xavier Nwampa, I believe, Caden Proctor, those guys were a part of this class that came in to Southeast Polk and put their program football wise, like, just on the map all of a sudden. Came out of nowhere. They were a team getting destroyed and came up and were basically, you were as good. They're winning state championships. You're as good as the Valley High Schools, the Dowling Catholics, the Des Moines Christians, basically the people that can go recruit. If they want to go out of state and say, hey, come play for my football team, they'll come get you type stuff. But these are in-home kids playing as good as that. Really cool story. Really gave the school something to cheer for, really find some positivity. And since then, I mean, it's really kind of turned the school around, and you kind of see a different aura and kind of what's going on, and all those terrible things that were going on have definitely dropped. So shout out to them. It's cool to see people like this getting drafted in the NFL. So shout out to Xavier. It's cool stuff.
Alrighty, I think it's my turn again. So, do I want to do safety corner? Safety corner. I guess I could pop out the corner. So, should we do the sibling, the normal sibling thing for this draft? Avion Terrell, AJ Terrell's brother, 5'10", 180. Oh boy, his size scares me. However, he doesn't play like he's that size. And his, what I call heat-seeking missile punch to knock balls out of receivers' hands is a thing of beauty and something he has painstakingly put time and work in, and you can tell. He has a peanut punch if you've ever seen a peanut punch. He is going to be need to be a zone corner in the league. He is going to have issues covering the larger, big body wide receivers, the Mike Evans-esque players. He's done it in college, so we'll see how it translates. But at his size and weight, and I don't know if he can put on much more weight, he's going to have some proving to do in that department. But he has the smartness, he has the speed, he plays within the physicality you want in a player at that position. It's just, will his physicality translate at that size at the NFL?
Hey, sign me up. Like Ollie said, Miami, they love their small corners. Let's just stick with the small corner guys. This gonna be the next superstar in South Beach, right? No, I'm just trolling, but I don't mind. I don't mind brothers, cousins. If there's a football bloodline, and you got people coming in, you got the Bosa brothers. You got people like that. Like, I'm cool, man. Like, I look at him. Yeah, the sign, does the size kind of bother me? Cool. I think the tape probably speaks for itself. Let's just, I'm ready for the combine, man. I'm ready for some of these guys to show us more than just the tape we have. Show me some intangible stuff to put with that tape now, to really show me, like, okay, yeah, you're a crazy prospect. I got to put you on my board.
So I don't mind the whole relation thing. I mean, sometimes the second sibling is better than the first sibling. You look at the Bosa brothers, right? I'll argue that Nick Bosa is better than Joey. I'll argue that James Cook is better than his brother. So sometimes the second in the bloodline is not always I'm sorry, the first in the bloodline is not always the better one. It could be the second or third guy that comes in that ends up performing better. So I'm okay with that. I don't mind having siblings even on the same team. I don't mind it. What was his size again? Give me his size one more time.
5'11", 180.
It's not horrible. 5'11. You could be 5'11 and 3/4, and you could just call it 6 foot, right? That's not horrible. If you were going to tell me
He may not even end up as a 5'11".
oh, so he's on the shorter side of 5'11. Well, I think in today's NFL, you kind of have to be around 6 foot, 6'1" kind of area. That's where I like my corners to be 6'2" if possible. But
we've also seen the short corners turn out pretty well. Look at the kid who was with the Chargers. I think he was better than the people gave him credit for. What's his face's son? He's a second generation corner. His dad played for the Patriots.
oh, hold on one second. He's with the Chargers now.
He was with the Chargers. He had the neck injury.
Oh, the guy.
Samuel Jr.
Yes.
What was that?
Asante Samuel Jr.
Yeah, thank you. Asante Samuel Jr. I think he's a good corner. I don't think he's like the one of the best, but I think he's a good corner.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's about the same size.
Yeah. And size isn't everything. You're absolutely right. Sometimes they can overcome size. I mean, Steve Smith did it. Steve Smith played like he was a 6'4" receiver, like it was nothing. You know what I mean? So size isn't everything. I agree. I think it's just what I'm looking for. That's my opinion. But I do think some of the other things I think is definitely a good trait. And coming from a football family, that means he has people to rely on, to ask it, to absorb information from. And I'll never hate on that. So those are my thoughts.
I do think he's a very good blitzer, though, because of his speed.
Yeah, definitely. What do they have him projected?
Mid to late first.
Mid to late first, you said?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. I can see
Well,
that.
he's gonna run like what Quinyon Mitchell ran. I think he's gonna run like a 4-3-4, 4-3-3.
Someone to look at for sure. Let me see something here. I don't have any more thoughts about that. Do you, Mystic? Do you have anything else?
I am good.
All right. Well, that was a great episode. We'll go ahead and get to the bottom line. Some things I wanted to address that I saw in the chat. Yeah, so let's actually talk about that real quick. All right, so I know for a fact that we're not going to be talking about wide receivers. Not wide receivers. I'm sorry. We're not going to be talking quarterbacks in our analysis, because we're going to wait and see how the cornerbacks do and then give analysis afterward. We'll have a separate show for that for day 3 of our combine. But I did want to address, somebody said that in this is a Miami fan, stating that a lot of people are really not talking about Drew Aller at all. We could have a shot of landing him. I think even if they were talking about him, we have a shot of landing him, to be honest.
Who has been talking about Drew Aller?
Nobody really has. But that could also be a bad thing. Like, what do you guys think? Like, it could be a good thing that no one's talking. If you're a team looking for a QB and you want to spend maybe a second or third round, probably more of a late third round pick on him, you know, Drew Aller's there. I would take a shot at Drew Aller in the third round pick. This guy was touted as being the number one pick like a year or two ago, right? They're talking about this guy is the next Josh Allen. That's what they say about him. So for me, I would take a shot at him with the third round pick at that point. But the fact that nobody's talking about him, that also could be considered a bad thing. Like, what do you guys think about that?
Hey, Mystic, do you know one guy who was talking about him?
Hey, we got multiple thirds. I have no problem with Drew Aller in the third. I'd
take it. I'd do it.
I do have my own little final thought, you know. Since, you know, you guys didn't really want to say anything. I know we got all these haters, but honorable mention, Caleb Downs at 11, generational.
Oh, damn. I wasn't doing it. Hey, just so you guys know, this is not an Ohio State podcast. I'm a fan of Ohio State, but I wasn't the one that brought him up. Just going to point that out.
Yeah, I was kind of being funny. I was hoping Mystic was going to back me up here. I've been pounding the table for Drew Aller. I think that what you just explained is exactly why I want Drew Aller.
Yeah.
He's an athlete. He has a cannon. He's coming off an ankle injury. He had arguably one of the worst coaches in college football. That is why he got fired. Drew Aller, I'm not going to say he was set up to fail and all that and all the excuses. He didn't have the years that he wanted to have. But if you're telling me you could build a quarterback in a mold, that's my guy. I like Taylor Green. Great athlete. He's not the passer that Drew Aller is.
Drew Aller's biggest mistake was staying at Penn State his last year. And the reason for that is I don't want to say that Coach Franklin is the worst head coach ever. It was pretty bad, but not for like the normal things that you would say he's a pretty bad head coach, right? He still is a hell of a recruiter. He's already proving that at Virginia Tech. I think me and Mystic broke it down in a span of a week of having the job. He was able to flip how many Penn State players through the transfer portal and prospects? I want to say it was like 15 to 20 of them or something like that. He's a hell of a recruiter, right? His programs generally are able to build really good defenses, right? But he hasn't really figured out what he can do with the offensive weapons that he does have, right? And unfortunate for Drew Aller is the fact that the Big Ten in general, especially at Penn State, even at Ohio State, it's a run first mentality. Even Mystic will tell you, I was a run first team, right? When your biggest offensive weapon that you have is in the hands of your quarterback and that arm, you have to somewhat change your philosophy. And that was something that Penn State and Coach Franklin couldn't do. So that being said, I think if he could go back and do it again from, at the end of the 2024 season, I would have transferred. I would have went to, and I'm just saying this, Drew Aller could have been a Hurricane, for example, or even better yet, where I think all quarterbacks need to go to become better. To be honest, go to the Big 12, go transfer to a Big 12 team, right? Because that's where it's a pass first mentality. That's where the air raid offense is. And that your superpower would be taken advantage of in a conference like that. So those are my thoughts about Drew Aller. I think he's talented, just was in the wrong offense under the wrong coach, unfortunately. But go ahead. What are your what do you guys think of that?
I think he should have went to Oklahoma.
That's a good team too. Yeah, that's a Big 12. Well, no, now they're SEC, right?
Yeah,
Oklahoma's SEC now. But
it's exactly what Jalen Hurts did. That's what Hurts. He knew he needed that.
Yeah.
Like I said it before he stayed. Like he either should have entered the draft because he was still being talked about as a first or second round pick, or he should have just transferred. I get it. He made that decision, and honestly, I think for us, he fits what Green Bay likes in their quarterbacks.
Oh yeah.
So we could end up as the biggest winners if he works out, but that's a whole nother thing for a whole nother different type of show. I think he will be somebody's prize if he works out in the NFL.
I'll be absolutely shocked if Miami doesn't look at Drew Aller in the third with all the thirds that we have. Like, it's not to get too crazy into it, but I think it's that time. You have the opportunity to do it. You have, there's no, in my opinion, it's like no risk, high reward. Like, what are you really risking right now?
Absolutely.
That's my thoughts.
I agree with you 100%. It's low risk, high reward. We've made the argument. I know Steve and Mystic, myself, and other people in the Dolphins community, we've argued about how the Dolphins need to start drafting QBs every season until they find the guy, right? Or every year. I think we should draft somebody in the mid to late rounds. If you could get a guy of his caliber in the third round, it would be a steal. It would definitely be a steal. I definitely do it. Some other news. This is not necessarily college football related, but it's high school football related. And it has to do with somebody we are familiar with. I think Mystic and I may have talked about this. Teddy Bridgewater. You guys remember Teddy Bridgewater was the head coach of a Miami high school team? You guys remember? I don't know if you guys knew that he was a high school head coach.
Yeah, he was at Northwestern.
Yes, Northwestern, right? He got suspended because something to do with money. He got like a 1 year or 2 year ban or something like that because he was asking for money from the school to help support his players in getting from practice and home by paying for like Ubers and also recovery that they needed between each game and everything like that, right? So he was asking for funding. And he also put out his own money and everything. And they said, oh, you can't do that. And they ended up suspending him. Well, lo and behold, and let me just let me bring this up really quick here. This is not what I wanted. Let me find the story real quick. Essentially, what's happened is they put through the Florida Congress a bill called the Teddy Bridgewater Act that allows high schools to now use their own funds to be able to pay for those things. So exactly what Teddy Bridgewater was asking for, right? They finally put through a bill. So the bill's been approved. However, it still has to go through the House of Representatives to officially be enacted and approved and passed and everything. But it will allow high school teams to now pay out of their own money up to like $15,000, I think they were saying, to pay for those types of things. So I thought that was really interesting. I wanted to bring that up. How do you feel about high school football and the money that's being thrown around at high school football now?
I think this should have always been a thing. These
I
are
kind of
kids,
agree. Good.
again, like, you know what they did with the NFL? They got rid of two-a-days. You know who's still doing two-a-days? High school.
Yeah, I remember. I was part of those 2-a-days. We also, not only did we have 2-a-days, but I'll never forget it. Behind our high school football field, there was this grass field that had one of the biggest hills you'll ever see in your life, right? And we did this drill where I would carry whoever my partner was. I'd have to fireman carry them up the hill. We had to do that up and down the hill several times, twice a day, because we would end the day on that drill. Holy shit. So I'll
Yeah,
never
like,
take 2 days. Oh, go
these
ahead.
kids are athletes, and a lot of them are training to go to college.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't see an issue with giving, because again, like, school. This goes into a whole nother issue. School sports not getting the, and they're not just sports. Like, there's a lot of things in schools that don't get the funding that it should have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, arts and sports and just day-to-day stuff that you should really have, like workshop and stuff like that, right? Like, there needs to be more money put into those types of things. There should never be a question on when you are an athlete working your tail off to go to college to make something of yourself that you can't get the help that you need, especially since a lot of the kids that end up in the NFL come from underprivileged areas where a lot of these programs, even though the bills pass, is still going to be hard to find. But that's me.
Interesting. Any thoughts on that, Mystic?
Not necessarily. Honestly, I kind of I'm with Steve in the sense of what's going on.
Look, I think I like the fact that we're investing in high school sports, right? As long as it's being done in a meaningful and honorable way, I'm cool with it. I do think that, in some areas, high school sports are not being funded enough. And if with the right funding, I think what ends up happening is it's better for the kids, right? They have certain goals in mind, and it gives them a way to be able to meet those goals, right? I've seen too many areas where they make it harder for kids to do things outside of their home. And what I'm talking about, to give you an example, and I noticed that here, and I think they made a change recently because me and a group of people have complained so much about this. When I lived in Ohio, I could go to the local park, play in the basketball courts, no problem. Play whatever pickup games, basketball. Let's say we're playing flag football, whatever. I didn't have to, pay to play, right? I didn't have to pay a fee to play on the court or whatever. When I moved here to Florida, the first thing I noticed, just to go to like a local basketball court, they got some guy from the city sitting there collecting $5 for entry. $5. Most kids that are not, already working, let alone have $5 to spend, right? So what ends up happening? You can't play basketball without paying for it, right? There's no other programs for kids to do after school that doesn't cost money, right? Because most of the after school programs that I've seen for kids, especially for my kids that were in school and high school, cost hundreds of dollars a month, right? Parents can't necessarily afford that. So you're going to high school, you want to get your education, great, get your diploma, but you also want to, you want to play sports. I think it should be okay for high schools to support their athletes that are there to help them develop their craft in whatever sport that may be. And it doesn't just have to be towards the football side of things. It could also be helping them get home safely so they don't have to walk through neighborhoods that they shouldn't really be in and could get harmed. Let it be gang related or, some of these rough neighborhoods. Some people are in schools that are across the city, and it's a big city, right? And the buses only go from the schools to your bus stop for so many during so many hours. It may not match up in schedule. Parents have to work still. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing, not just for the students, but overall for the community and for the parents. That's what I think. Sorry, I went on a tangent. Just some things that I've noticed over the years. Anything else last minute for the bottom line?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, you guys heard it from us. These are players that you guys should be considering. If you're a team out there, definitely check them out. I'm excited for this college draft. Cannot wait. Make sure you hit the like button. Tuesday, we'll have our third and final episode of the Road to the Combine. The Combine starts next week, Thursday. So I can't wait for that. I know I'm going to be watching it intently. I know Steve and Mystic will be too. Maybe we'll have after the Combine. Well, actually, we can just do that the following Tuesday. Do a Combine recap and, give our honorable mentions and who was the MVP of the Combine. So we can definitely talk about it. But Tuesday, we're going to be talking wide receivers, running backs, and finally the offensive line group for you trench lovers, because I know there's a few of you in the community. But if there's something you guys want us to talk about regarding college football, put it in the comments. Don't put it in the chat here because I won't see it. Put it in the comments on YouTube. I like reading those comments. I like to talk about some of those things. Any final words from you guys? Steve, Mystic.
No, I think
That's it. I ain't got nothing. I
Well,
appreciate y'all.
That's a wrap. So we'll see you at the next one. Talk to you guys.